Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Dafuq Did I Just Watch? With your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. This week we'll be recapping and reviewing the latest film by Jordan Peele. That's right, I'm talking about... No. The film is both written and directed by Jordan Peele, who you may know from his work on Get Out, and also Us. The film stars Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Steven Yeun, and Brandon Perea. And of course, a classic raspy performance from Michael Wincott. Now before we get started, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely helps the show keep going, and we appreciate any comments of movies or television shows you'd like to see us review here at Dafuq. Now, if you haven't seen the movie and would still like to, make sure you pause here and return later, as we will be recapping and reviewing quite a lot, so there may be spoilers ahead. That's right, this is your official spoiler alert. The film is about two siblings, Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, who attempt to get video evidence of a UFO. Or should I say, UAP? Let's go ahead and start things off by talking about the performances in the movie, starting with the two on-screen siblings, Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. Daniel Kaluuya, who you may know from previous work in Get Out and also Black Panther, plays a son of a ranch owner, so he plays it very like cowboy, very almost Clint Eastwood-ish. A lot of his lines doesn't have a ton of dialogue, and a lot of his lines include things like, yeah, okay. I want to say that there's at least like 4 or 5 times where his line is just like, which is like it's what I think about when I think of like a classic ranch hand or some kind of like a guy who really dedicates his life to just horses is probably not going to be the biggest conversationalist, and you're probably just going to get a lot of Keke Palmer is on the opposite side of the spectrum from her on-screen sibling. Not only is she talking non-stop, but she's also insanely charismatic and charming, which is a great yin-yang kind of balance between our two brother-sister siblings. The film also stars Steven Yeun, who you may recognize as, that one guy that got his head bashed in by Negan on Walking Dead. Oh yeah, that's right. He gives a performance as a former child star who now owns the ranch next to the Heywoods and has converted it into a small little amusement park in homage to one of his older shows. Overall, his character was by far the most interesting one to me, but unfortunately his lackluster performance kind of undercuts how interesting the character is. The character is very intriguing, and we're trying to figure out more of his backstory, but unfortunately Steven Yeun's performance is just kind of like a little bit lackluster. There is a good moment where he kind of puts on a show more towards the middle or end of the movie, where he kind of puts on this Hugh Jackman Greatest Showman like, "Are you ready?" kind of thing, and it's great when he turns the switch. It's great, but everything up until then is very kind of monotone almost. Like it's just very I wasn't feeling the vibe from Steven Yeun, unfortunately. The film also stars Brandon Perea, who plays a electronics store employee recruited by the Heywood siblings to help in their adventure to find this UAP. Brandon brings amazing energy to the film without being oversaturated and too much. He provides about 90% of the comedic relief, which is great. He sells it great. He knows his role, and he really delivers the energy that you want without being overwhelming and kind of turning into annoying. It's the perfect amount of his wacky craziness. Michael Wincott, of course, giving a fantastic performance. He plays a world-famous cinematographer that the siblings bring in to help capture footage of this UAP. Every line in this movie is it's that kind of role where it's everything he says is super cryptic and you're chasing this dream, the kind of dream you never wake up from. And it's oh, okay, cool. And then there's a part later where he's reciting a song, a old kid song or something, and it's oh god, this is so haunting and amazing. It's you could give Michael Wincott any kind of kid story, or have him sing the happy birthday song. It'd be horrifying. Have him sing or read any kind of Dr. Seuss book. Have him just go on a tour of libraries and just have Michael Wincott read Dr. Seuss books. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. It's just oh God. Oh, Michael Wincott, why are you scaring the shit out of me with this kid story? So he's great. Michael Wincott, it's always great to see him. It's always great to hear his voice. It's just amazing. And I feel like there's like one part of this movie that was written specifically for, like, no, we need Michael for this. Like, this is only Michael. I only want to hear him say this. Like, this is the whole reason we're bringing him in, is to read this little kid's tale or whatever. And with a movie with so much screen time pointed up at a blank sky, there is actually very good cinematography throughout the movie. Jordan Peele does a great job of building tension throughout the entire film. He kind of does that Steven Spielberg kind of Jaws thing where it's like, you don't want to show the shark too early, so let's go ahead and, play those little shadow games with it for a while. So it's always fun to build the tension that way and kind of build the suspense as well. And you're also trying to figure out the mystery of, like, what is this thing? Is it man-made? Is it alien? Like, what's going on here? Now, I'm not sure if it's the inclusion of aliens or maybe just the overall tension building, but there is a vibe of M. Night throughout this film, and maybe I'm getting a echoing kind of vibe of M. Night because I feel like M. Night kind of had the same exact thing happen not too long ago, where he comes out of the gate flying with Unbreakable, right? And then he follows up Unbreakable with, like, Sixth Sense, which is like, holy shit, it's even more amazing. And then we get the third, which was The Village, which was like, everybody was like, here we go. What? They're just in a national park? So maybe that's what this is too. Like, maybe like he came flying out of the gate with Get Out, and then he follows that out with Us, and it's just like, oh, and it's like, here we go with No. Wait, what? Now, don't get me wrong, like, nope, it was enjoyable, and it does have that whole thing of, like, it has the Jordan Peele thing, it has the M. Night thing, where it's like, there's going to be something. It's like, half of the fun of seeing the movie is, like, it's going to be a puzzle, right? Like, you're going to have to try to figure some stuff out. Like, is there double meaning? Like, what's the real meaning behind this? Like, that was part of the fun of Us, is that, like, it wasn't just, like, oh, these crazy doppelgangers. It's like, there was, like, multiple layers that you could read into it, which was fun, And I think I felt that happening as I'm watching Nope. Like, about maybe halfway or maybe like even like 2/3 of the way through, I start getting this feeling like I'm not enjoying this movie that much. So now I'm searching, right? But I'm like, there has to be something. It's Jordan Peele. Where's the double meaning? Like, it's also interesting to talk about this movie without, I'm trying to like tiptoe around the ice here. Like, I don't want to give away like the big giant surprise. But once the big giant surprise is revealed, like, there is still a lot of the movie left once it's revealed. And then once it's revealed, I just have this feeling of just like, oh. I mean, all right, I guess that's, all right. It's like, I don't know, I think it's the same thing with it. It's like the M. Night thing. It's like Unbreakable, oh, Sixth Sense, oh, Get Out, oh, Us, oh. The Village. Oh. Nope. Oh. All right. And maybe that's why I feel the way it is. It's like, it's not necessarily that it was a bad movie. It's just like the previous two were so unbelievably good that when this one turns out to be just kind of average, it's like it feels less than average, even though it is like just, it's very up the middle. It's like, it didn't blow my mind away, but I didn't hate it either. It was also interesting, and I enjoyed trying to figure out the puzzle. And it's interesting, too, because it's like you try to follow these little breadcrumbs, and there's like, a few that lead to nowhere. Like, oh, they're just breadcrumbs that were just like a little red herring or whatever it is, where it's like, oh, thought it was going to be something, but it ended up being like, no, not that important at all. So let's go ahead and hit Nope with our overall rating. The 2022 film Nope is a bit of a slow-burning, tension-building extraterrestrial mystery. And although they are great performances, it's not enough to save the film from its lackluster finish. Now, if we're strictly ranking this amongst Jordan Peele's other films, I would have to put this probably at the bottom of the list. But going with the overall letter rating, we're going to go ahead and give Nope a solid C. That's right, coming in right up the middle. Is it great? No. Is it terrible? No. It's right down the middle. Again, it echoes back to the feeling of M. Night Shyamalan coming out with his two bangers and then flopping down with The Village. Jordan Peele also coming out with two bangers, and this one not necessarily flopping down, but certainly a little bit lackluster when compared to the other two. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Dafuq. If you felt differently, feel free to comment down below and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time at the movies.